Hi everyone, it's Aaron from Push Square here, excited to bring you our official review for Battlefield 2042. The original version of this review was written by the lovely Liam Croft over on the Push Square website before being adapted into video by me. Anyways, it's time to fight the future. On to the review. The games industry stops for no one, and just 1 week after Call of Duty Vanguard was put out by Activision, Battlefield 2042 is here to try and eat its lunch. What it has to offer though could hardly be considered a filling main course. EA DICE has cooked up an excellent starter, sort of like a crowd-pleasing tomato soup, that doesn't quite have the chops to stand on its own. Extensive post-launch support will surely see it fulfill those lofty ambitions, but that content is months or possibly even years down the line. When Battlefield 2042 shows you the bill, it's asking you to buy into what's to come rather than hope you're satisfied with the chef's first dish. 3 modes grace the main menu. All-Out Warfare houses classic Conquest skirmishes along with the return of Breakthrough from Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. Hazard Zone is an entirely new mode, tasking squads with retrieving data drives and then extracting before any other teams can eliminate you. And Portal brings back maps of the past ripe for editing to create custom modes. Conquest and Breakthrough are where you'll likely spend most of your time, representing the core of what makes a Battlefield title tick. The popular race to whittle the enemy team's tickets down to 0 by capturing points on the map has hardly changed. Up to 128 players on PS5 compete for victory this time around, meaning that maps are bigger than ever. They span the globe of the near future, from dusty environments of Qatar and beach ships of India to Singapore's outdoor cargo hangars. Each one has the potential to highlight what our own Earth could look like if global warming isn't thwarted as tornadoes and violent weather destroys the landscape around you. But there's something else linking them together. They're all a bit too big. While past Battlefield games have always had the criticism of simply running for a few minutes to find the action and then dying as soon as you get there thrown at them, there have always been ways of getting around it. Whether that's hopping in a vehicle, spawning on teammates, or properly reading the map to see where the action will be headed next. This time, however, while those options still exist, so much barren space separates the objectives from one another that the game feels like just as much of a running simulator as it does a shooting one. These large periods of boredom are something you'll just have to accept as part of the flow if there's nothing nearby to transport you to the next objective or a friend who can pick you up. You're also likely to encounter the same maps over and over again, since there aren't too many of them at launch. Only 7 in fact. Obviously, you're at the mercy of matchmaking, but it's all too easy for the game to load up the very same map twice in a row. You've already taken a hammering there once, you don't want to do it again.
Leave me! Worry about yourself!
Thank heavens then that the shooting is its usual solid self. Battlefield has always been a series that actually makes where you place the iron sights matter, with the likes of bullet drop to take into account before taking your shot. Things are no different in the near future, as a large range of weaponry caters to the needs of assault rifle users, close quarters SMG experts, and long-range masters with a snipe rifle in their hands. They're complemented by gadgets like the grappling hook, ballistic shield and sentry guns for rounding out your loadout. Tied to the specialist you choose to play as, it's here where Battlefield 2042 moves away from the class system of old. Repair tools, ammo and medical crates and insertion beacons can be equipped by anyone, blurring the lines between the traditional roles previous titles have subscribed to. Each specialist has their own unique perk, but they're hardly a replacement for the defined tasks of soldiers past. While you could argue this is a more freeing implementation, it also means those all-important tools could be left behind. If you're not communicating in a squad, something like the rocket launcher or armor plating will likely be your first port of call. It's not a change for the better, we would argue. It all amounts to an extremely familiar Conquest Mode, exciting and intense in fits and starts, but also a little dull at times too. Breakthrough is where you should go for the action. With just 2 objectives to focus on at any time, the chaos is focused around specific parts of the map, meaning you'll always be right in the thick of things. Most of our playtime was spent there, and it's very much where you should go for the fun. But this is still Battlefield. It continues to be a game where getting just one kill feels like an achievement, and taking back an objective warrants a war medal. As rare as it may be, going on a tear and eliminating an entire enemy squad to squash their chances of turning the tide of battle puts you on top of the world. There's still so much satisfaction to be had here, even if changes made under the hood mean it won't quite feel like home. In the heat of the action, it feels fantastic to play. Then there's Hazard Zone, which has to be the weakest part of the package. It's high on intensity and low on respawns, asking teams of 4 to search maps for data drives and then extract with them. If your squad is killed off, however, you're out of the match for good. The mode is pitched as a slightly more casual take on Escape from Tarkov, but it's also uninteresting. Since you're playing on the same gigantic maps used by Conquest and Breakthrough, you'll once again encounter the cliché of a lot of running without much gunning. This time it actually happens in practice though, making for a dull mode we will rarely return to in the future. It would be of no surprise whatsoever if Hazard Zone goes the same way as Battlefield 5's Firestorm mode, and receives very little love after launch. Portal is sure to be the mode that will excite longtime fans the most, remastering beloved maps from Battlefield 1942, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 3 for an experimental mode where you're the judge of the objectives and physics. The mode absolutely fulfills the fantasy pitched prior to release. Revisit the likes of Archaea Harbour, Caspian Border, and Battle of the Bulge, fully remastered for the modern age with fun tweaks and changes. While you do have to visit an external website to make your creation a reality, browsing the in-game server list will always throw up some inviting prospects with custom rules and regulations. It's these that will turn your nostalgia trip into much more than a brief vacation, as enjoyable variations throw up interesting scenarios like pitting 2 armies from different periods of time against one another or changing your loadout every time you spawn.
Enemy dead right there!
There are limitations, of course, but what's already there has us coming back for more and theorising what could come back next. Operation Metro, anyone? Despite putting EA DICE in a bit of an awkward spot, we've had just as much fun revisiting these older maps as learning the new ones. However, a Battlefield release is never without its problems, and Battlefield 2042 is, unfortunately, no different. Features like a scoreboard and squad voice chat are missing. Then there's a long list of technical flaws, mostly revolving around graphical glitches. Aircraft can become suspended in mid-air, vehicle pieces float in the air once they've been destroyed, and dodgy kill cams fall underneath the map. Matches become stuck on the map screen and never start. Redeploying in the middle of a match is prevented by bugs, and even trophies don't unlock correctly, a sin on PlayStation platforms. The UI sometimes even indicates the wrong objective to attack, and the lack of stat screens means there's no way to track your wins and losses. A lot of tidying up to do then. It all comes down to the fact that Battlefield 2042 is missing core features that make multiplayer titles what they are today. It shouldn't have released without them, and that's not even factoring in the long list of glitches at launch. They're not even just minor distractions, we were literally unable to join matches because the game suddenly decided to randomly break on us. Backing out to the main menu and restarting matchmaking fixes most issues, but that's not the point. The game shouldn't be in such a position in the first place. It was already delayed once, maybe the title needed one more. Battlefield 2042 is disjointed and incomplete at launch, but it's impossible to deny it still has that magic spark that has made past entries thrive. There aren't enough maps, and one too many bugs and glitches get in the way of the fun. However, with the excellent Portal mode to bolster it, Battlefield 2042 does just enough to get us on board. While we wish so many things were better, nothing else does it quite like Battlefield. And there you have it for our long-awaited review for Battlefield 2042. We appreciate your patience on this one because, as you can probably tell, it's a big old online shooter and we wanted to spend a good deal of time with it before giving our final verdict. Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a like and consider subscribing to Push Square for everything else PlayStation related. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.